How are you doing?
And you?
I'm well, thank you. Okay, so what are we doing? I just want to go back to, we were busy with something yesterday. I don't know how far we got. Sorry that I was so down yesterday. I had a really bad day yesterday. That's why I wasn't talking much. Otherwise I would have totally distracted you guys from your work to talk about interesting things. Okay. We are doing... Okay, so we completed build the skill, right? Oh gosh, that was supposed to be for the other class. Oh my gosh. Okay, let me just copy this and then I mix up my classes today. Do I do that often though? Mix up my classes? I feel like I might, actually.
I think you did it last week, just once. So.
Okay, I need to just go put this in the other class and then I need to delete it from your class because it's their work. Bop. Ba bop. Ba 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 bop. Ba 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 bop. Okay, then I can go back to your group. And I can delete the one that does not belong. Delete. Okay. Ow, 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 ow. Where is everyone though? Like Kai isn't here. And Amelie is like very seldom here, hey? Like I'm not sure whether I'm supposed to like send her mom a message every time she isn't here. How far did we get yesterday with the slideshow? Oh, we were going to review it, hey? We were going to go through it. Okay. So let me go to... Do you guys know what time? Okay, I think it's this one. Okay, so we want to build the skills. Okay, now today I genuinely don't know who everyone is. So this is going to be fun. Because I don't know how to open the student. Oh, apparently that's a premium feature. I don't know. Well, that's going to have to be something to get used to. Okay. So how does Jolie draw attention to herself in her audience? Note down how she refers to herself in her audience, the purpose for the speech, and her own personal experiences. So what we've got here is Angelina Jolie uses personal pronouns such as I, you, and us. Does she really? She uses we. Where does she use us though? I don't know if she uses I don't know if she uses us, but I know that she does use you. However, the point that she uses you is a point that she's speaking about the universal you instead of the specific you of the audience. So therefore, that is not quite right. But she does use a we. I know she definitely does use a we. Now, I want you to take this a little bit further. So she uses personal pronouns, and I want you to explore a little bit further why she does this. So thank you. Yes. So I want you to explore a little bit further how she does this and why she does this. Why would you use a we talking to the audience? Specifically, this audience, you are trying to raise an issue, but you don't want them to feel like you're judging them. So Angelina didn't want them to feel like they were being judged by her. And so as a result, she, instead of saying I or you, she used we. Okay? There was one point that she used you, and that was the point where she said they will host you. And she was talking about herself as well in that, because she was talking about the universal you. So beware of how these pronouns are used, what context they're used in, so that you can explore them. The purpose of the speech is to bring attention to how refugees are referred to by others. Actually, I want to look at all of yours. She refers to herself and her audience as people who have it better and people who have a voice for change and power to an extent to help immigrants. Okay, I want to know specifically which pronouns is she using? Like, how is she referring to herself? How do you know that she's referring to herself and her audience as people who have it better? By using things like they would say that. You are right, but I wanted, specifically, what is she using? What words is she using to make that happen? Then, she uses bold but true sentences to capture her audience and draw attention. Okay, that statement doesn't really add any value to the question. Remember, the question is asking how we want to know how she draws attention to herself and her audience by the way that she refers to herself and her audience. So by that, you're going to have to point out how specifically she refers to herself and how specifically she refers to her audience. Makes sense? Let's look at question B, the purpose of the speech. So, the purpose of the speech is to bring attention to how refugees are referred to by others. The speech describes how refugees are just as normal as you and I through a series of experiences. Okay, I feel like you were just trying to make the sentence sound clever at this point through a series of experiences. If you wanted this to actually be effective, you needed to say something like through a series of anecdotes that she shares. She does this through a series of anecdotes. Does that make sense? Okay. Then she used the speech to inform people about immigration. No, it was not an informative speech. It did bring something to the audience's attention that refugees are treated badly and they come from terrible circumstances, but it didn't inform them specifically about immigration, because immigration isn't necessarily confined to just refugees. Okay. You guys really should at this point be answering your questions more accurately. My November students are answering these questions in a much more accurate way than you guys are. Then she draws attention to the meaning of her speech by humanizing the refugees, saying something along the lines of, there are millions of them, but they are not just a number. Now again, what it says, how does she draw attention to herself using, so how does she draw attention to herself and her audience? Note down the purpose of the speech. So now here in this answer, you didn't actually note down the purpose of the speech. What is the purpose of the speech? And then looking at that purpose, how does that purpose bring attention to herself and the audience? So how is she and the audience related to that purpose? She uses a personal experience to shine a light on the experience of some of the refugees. Okay, wait, let me just read the question. Her own personal experience. Let's start at the beginning. Jolie describes her personal experience through a series of observations. This gives the audience an opportunity to experience and encounter through her eyes. She also talks about an anecdote, which she didn't mention, which should have been mentioned. But good. She used her example of the pregnant woman who was left alone to paint a clearer picture of what they have to go through and the kindness they show her. Now, what you're missing there is how does it draw attention to herself and her audience? Do you see how none of you are actually answering these questions? Okay. She uses a personal experience to shine a light on the experiences of some of the refugees. Yeah, it's not wrong. However, you haven't spoken about how it draws attention to herself and her audience. Am I even in this call? You guys are very silent. Okay, I will go to that. Then, what particularly emotive language does she use to describe the families at the start of the speech? Let's go see what she said. She describes the families as all being unique and every member of every family having a different life, different dreams, and different story to tell. So I want to know specific. Okay, so emotive language. There is more to it, but let's see. She uses words like the words desperate and obscure. So when we're asking what specific emotive language, we want quotes. desperate and obscure, as well as the phrase cut off from civilization. The use of desperate emphasis refugees. Okay, I want to say on this point, cut off from civilization was relating to that specific example. But yes, I suppose it is emotive language. Let me just see, is this all at the start of the speech though? This is your class, right? Oh, there I see cut off from civilization, that they don't even know that that a day like this exists on their behalf. Millions and numbers can illuminate, but they can also obscure. So I am here today to say that refugees are not numbers. Here, this is the purpose. The purpose is to point out, to make an argument that refugees are real people, and to persuade the audience to see refugees as real people. Sorry. Okay. The use of desperate emphasizes the refugee's difficult situation. The use of the word obscure describes how many refugees are lost in a sense due to the sheer amount of help that is needed by many. Lastly, cut off from civilization describes how the refugees have little to no exposure to the outside world due to a lack of access to resources such as news. Yet another thing that people take advantage of on a daily basis. They don't take advantage of it, they take for granted. Okay, different. Then, they're cut off from civilization, and although they had nothing, they were still kind to her, and how they gave the most even though they had less. And then by describing them as sons and daughters, mothers and fathers. Let me just check what's going on here. Okay, so you just add it on here. It creates an emotional bond with the listener, as they will have at least one family member that... Oh, you didn't finish this for some reason. Did you forget to finish it? Oh gosh. Kai, I even put the homework on the classroom. Do you have a homework diary? Okay, do you have a phone with an alarm? Can you set an alarm next time you need to do your homework? Okay. I know it can be difficult to remember to do your homework, but like, it is important. Okay, the rhetorical impact of the word millions. Am I on the right thing?
We didn't go through question B.
Thanks for telling me. Okay, so describe the way in which refugees are mistreated all over the world by misfortune. She described how refugees often have little to no money, food or resources, and about how they're often greatly affected by the weather as they do not have proper shelter. Okay, so what I wanted was specific emotive language that she used. Okay. So you told me what she said, but I wanted to know the emotive language that she used. You see that? Angelina uses the phrase that they are stripped of home and country. The use of emphasis on a lack of nationality for refugees. I would just say the emphasis on a lack of nationality for refugees emphasizes something that people sometimes take advantage of: an identity. She goes on to say that refugees are buffeted from every ill wind that blows across the planet. The use of ill wind emphasizes how refugees are terribly impacted by natural disasters and virus breakouts, simply because of how exposed they are. Good, that's actually really good. But also we can explore this further: every ill wind that blows across the planet. So using the word planet, that is very big. I mean, what sounds bigger, world or planet? Do you see how planet has bigger connotations? It's quite weird though, hey? But those are the things I want you to notice. The use of ill wind emphasizes how refugees are terribly impacted. Okay, then they're stripped of everything, their home countries, and they are thrown around wherever the wind blows. They are not provided with basic needs. So here you have just rephrased what she said instead of telling me what specific emotive language she used. Okay, do you see the difference? Okay, I need you guys to be careful in answering questions. Then, what is the rhetorical impact of the single word millions? Millions is often used to refer to an unknown large number. The average person does not know or cannot fully visualize just how much a million actually is, but they do know that it is likely a very significant number, leading the audience to pay more attention. Can I just, in the chat, just spell audience for you? Okay. The repetition of the word millions is used to emphasize the sheer amount of refugees in an artistic way. No. I wouldn't say artistic way. It's not so she can be artsy. It is used by the writer to express her point more effectively. The writer uses the word millions earlier in a statement. She then circles back to it to emphasize her point more powerfully. So millions, you need to understand that millions represents an uncountable number. The average person cannot count this number. There are literally millions. It is not an exaggeration. So therefore it's not an artistic way. Okay? So it is not an exaggeration. There are really millions of them. And so millions creates this idea of being such a great number that we can't even count it. It may be a type of way to inspire people to take action, and it can also be a sort of language used to persuade and motivate an audience. Okay, so we are looking for the rhetorical impact. Let's quickly look at what the word rhetorical means. Rhetorical is designed to have a powerful effect on the reader. So we're looking at what effect does it have on the reader. So this last person said it can inspire people to take action. I want you to connect the fact that millions is what you're saying, but I also want you to point out that it inspires people to take action. Okay, I'm not sure if it does, but it does. It can be quite an overwhelming word. And so it can make the audience aware of just how many people there are. Then, okay, we finished your activity 6 yesterday, hey? Cool. Okay, I've reopened the session. You can go to the link we used yesterday. I think. Okay, are you guys understanding the feedback that I'm giving?
Yes.
And you have to have a precise way of reading and answering questions if you want to do well. Oh my gosh, Sydney, that's such a great idea.
So could you open the thingy so that we can get back to the text?
Oh yes. Turn on student paste. There we go. How
Thank
do you
you.
guys? How do you guys find this like working in a slideshow thing? Does it work for you? Okay, I think you guys might be nodding your heads or shaking your heads. Does it work for you?
I think it works.
It's better. Like my original idea was to create like a worksheet and all of you like complete the work on a worksheet. And then I was like, isn't there something better? And then I found this.
I think this works better because like we're able to finish the work and then you can give us feedback immediately instead of waiting for everyone to send it in.
Yeah. gosh.
I don't know why, but I'm finding this text very difficult to writing effects with this text. I don't know why, but I'm finding it very difficult.
This specific text. Okay, so we're just looking for. So, can you identify the descriptive or sensory details that she uses to describe the maps? I'll be back in a moment. I'm sorry, I've been talking this whole time and I'm muted. I hate it when that happens. Okay, so Tata, you're gonna have to redo this because the question is asking how does she use descriptive sensory details to convey her message, and you have answered why.
No, I wasn't done.
Okay.
I'm trying to understand
Okay.
the question in a whole.
Can you guys complete that for me for tomorrow for our next lesson? For our next lesson on Friday, okay? Up to activity 6, and then we're going to do develop the skills on Friday, which is just a little bit to do. Okay. Is that okay? Cool. Bye, guys.
Bye.